disclaimer for you political tards. If you expect us to be like a liberal or consider us one or anything like that, we're not any of those. Okay? Shut the fuck up. I hate all you equally. You guys suck. Right? Counterculture is dead. None of you are all counterculture. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and let's get started on this one. So, I'm gonna bring up my inspiration to make this video because this was Destructor's idea in the bigger picture. But like a while ago, about earlier in the last month, music reviewer The Needle Drop put out a tweet saying the internet's biggest fuck up with terminally online conservatives was letting them think they're counterculture in any ways, and this actually kind of like sparked something in me where I wanted to kind of talk about this at one point, and now we're doing this now. But when you talk about counterculture nowadays, there really isn't any good examples of it anymore. Back then, whether it be the 60s, from like maybe the mid 80s, you could argue some of the early 90s, like there was always something that people would always like complain about. Like there was always something trying to move society and a movement, whether it be in music or entertainment or free speakers. There was always that stuff, and now it's just lame conservatives posting fucking Pepe memes or on Facebook, or like liberals just it's just meme posting really on both sides, actually, when I think about it.
Yeah, unfunny meme posting about crappy ideologies. Conservatives think to be a rebel, you must marry young, go to church, and like pretty much just live a traditional like conservative lifestyle. Liberals just like do the opposite, be more like a degenerate basically, accept all sexualities and all this gay shit or whatever. It's like, no, that's not really counterculture. That's just being a fucking loser, okay? Because the idea of counterculture is to like basically where it goes against the grain, against everyone. It doesn't mean a particular side.
Yeah.
If you don't like anyone at all, you're pretty much just pissing off society, and you're just doing the way that you want to do it. In a way, counterculture is the truest form of punk rock. Like, look at punk rock. When it first came out, no one liked it. You saw people like...
It was sloppy singing with sloppy fucking instrumentals, but it was telling you something.
Yeah, it's like pissing off like the established music scene of that time, and just overall music and culture. It was telling you a message.
Yeah.
And plus, not to mention the fashion, like how it was pretty much going against the norms. Like, everything about it was the definition of counterculture. Probably the biggest, greatest counterculture of all time. Today, you don't get that. You don't get that shit no more.
I mean, just look at fucking the Sex Pistols and their haircuts. I mean, that tells you everything. Like no one at that time was like walking around like that. And I said around the 60s to the 90s. I can actually even bring this to the 2000s because, of course, rap legend Eminem. He started a thing too, because of course if you grew up in the 2000s or you were around in that time, you know that around that time it was all the boy band stuff, like fucking what am I thinking of, what the fuck, Backstreet Boys, or the divas like Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera. But then you had your guys like Eminem, who wanted to kind of keep edgy stuff in the mainstream, and well, he did, with the Marshall Mathers LP, and there's like all sorts of stuff on there, sorts of skits on there where he's saying edgy shit, he's saying like slurs and whatever, and he's saying like stuff that wasn't in mainstream music at that time. And I mean, look at it, like this proves that being edgy sells, because Eminem's Marshall Mathers LP is one of the best selling rap albums of all time. So
yeah, that's an example of being a true counterculture. But the reason why we think today's counterculture is non-existent is because what is there to rebel against? Because the thing about counterculture, it always exists because of preconceived notions, because it's always something to like rebel against, something to say, ha, look at me, I'm doing something cool. There's nothing like that. Like, don't sell me this traditionalist garbage. That's not rebelling against the system. That's been around forever. You're telling me like the ways of the old west of like Americans and how it was founded and shit. You're telling me that's, being a rebel? That's not being a rebel. Like, maybe against like dumb liberals it is, because liberals are stupid. But like, that's liberals, my guy. They're just fucking one part of it. You're literally catering to one side, okay? Like, that's just the objective truth. Because when you look at, society and stuff. We evolved to the point where counterculture is dead and it'll probably never come back. Like if you want to be like a true rebel, you gotta basically just say whatever the fuck you want and go against the grain against everything. Like just generally everything. And it's fucking hard to do because let's be honest, everyone's a fucking hypocrite now on all sides.
And you also have to think about this too, like when you're talking about cancel culture and like people, they're like, oh, we got to bring back traditionalism and blah 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 blah. Like, what do you think people of cancel culture were rebelling against in that time? They were rebelling against boring stuff like that. They wanted change, right? Like we wanted to make things normal in society that weren't normal at that time, and that's kind of what cancel culture was the point of doing. Whether, and I know like some fucking dumb conservative is gonna bring up, oh, why'd you bring this up? Like you said, this isn't gonna be one sided, but like the women's liberation thing, right? Like at the time, like it was risky to even bring that up, and now like it's accepted. But like the thing is like that's what cancel culture was built on. It was built on rebelling against something to the point where people got so sick of you that they would make it the norm. And like there's nothing to rebel against anymore. Like everything's the norm to both sides. Like if you say something edgy, like you're gonna have weird right wingers be like, oh, don't cancel him and blah blah blah, because they're trying to make it political even though it was just a joke. Or you'll have like liberals defending anyone, and I mean far left, by the way, and far right, on both these edges. But like you'll have liberals try to defend anyone who shows any trait of like kind of minority. So like trans, like with the whole Bud Light thing, right? Like the Dylan Mulvaney thing.
Literally, that shit was like the most nonsensical drama because conservatives were butthurt about some trans person on something. And the liberals were like, "Oh, it's transphobic and this and that. It's fucking stupid." Speaking of liberals with their shit, bro, there's a reason why people don't like to be told what to do. Like people hate political correctness is because you guys are so fucking sensitive. You're a bunch of fucking goddamn baby retards that you have to be like. People want to be edgy and shit. It's like you're just giving people a reason to be edgy or some shit, because not everyone's into, like, well, what you're into, okay? Being, like, a fucking degenerate and some shit and be like, oh, yeah, it's okay. Let's have a drag queen shit in our school. Like, no, let's not have that shit. We don't want that. Like, that's not really being counterculture. It's being a fucking degenerate loser.
Yeah, and so basically the point of this is that, like, there's no point in trying to revive something that won't come back, like, right? Like once something's dead, it's dead. And that's counterculture, because the thing is like both sides have normalized and politicized all these things to the point where you can't really counter them anymore because they've been politicized. Back then things weren't as politicized. People kind of just stuck by their values, and that was that. Like liberals were always protesting for like certain things to be kind of accepted, whether it be gay marriage or women's liberation or blacks' rights to vote or blah blah blah, whatever it may be. And then you had your conservatives who were just trying to be traditional. Now it's just like liberals have politicized their end of the stick, conservatives have politicized theirs, and there's nothing to counter because everything you would counter is already politicized.
Pretty much. The moral of the story is that politics has killed counterculture. Anything that's considered counterculture is just dead. There's no such thing as like counterculture, really. It's just pretty much a politicized shit show. So that's kind of like the message we're trying to get at, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and I don't know. Do you have anything else to say?
Nope. That's my closing statements.
All right. Well, that's all I got to say too. And until then, let us know what you think in the comments, and we're out.